Awesome. Great. Hi, everyone. My name is Niels Ventilen. I'm in the ML team at Union AI. Thanks for joining us here today. Let me share my screen. To give everyone some context, I'll do this for every meeting since it seems like, there are different folks coming by every so often. Where'd my screen go? There it is. Okay, cool. Can everyone see this roadmap? It'll be bigger. Okay. Cool. Yeah. So to give you some context on this meeting, this is an open source planning meeting. So no presentations or slide decks. We're basically going to do essentially what is sprint planning in the open source for the UnionML project. Maybe raise your hands or write in chat, like if people know or don't know. Raise your hand if you don't know what UnionML is. Okay, cool. So it seems like at least, oh, Brandon, okay. So maybe at some point I'll stop giving this high level spiel on UnionML. But essentially, UnionML, I'm guessing you know about Flight since you're in the Flight Slack, but UnionML is a thin wrapper around Flight that helps you write machine learning apps, as we're trying to call it. So it's designed very similarly to web frameworks like Flask or FastAPI, but essentially you define these app objects, I'll just call them, so model and data set, and then they expose various decorators where you implement certain pieces of a machine learning system, like where you get your data, how you train your model, predicting from that model and evaluating that model. And what UnionML helps facilitate is putting those pieces together in ways that get rid of a lot of boilerplate, So with these 4 functions, you can basically train a model, generate predictions on it in Python. So in a Python runtime, it integrates with FastAPI, so you can create an online prediction service out of it. It also works with AWS Lambda if you want a serverless infrastructure. And so this is like the core beginnings of the project, where it provides a kind of this high level syntax for defining you kind of declaratively define like these entry points, and then you implement the actual function body of those entry points. So, I'm calling estimator.fit here, but you could really import any library. So this is using sklearn, but this is the PyTorch equivalent of the same app. This is the Keras version of this app. And so this is sort of the design of this framework. This is like the surface level API, and the internals are a little bit specialized, I want to say. So you kind of really have to know what you're doing with Flight to develop, but we're trying to make this a layered API where you can go underneath and customize things. However, we're at the stage now where we are cleaning things up. We're trying to get some certain core integrations built in before going deeper in the onion, so to speak. So hopefully that, if anyone has any questions who's not familiar with UnionML, feel free to ask it now or type it in the chat, and I can. Okay. So Brandon. Okay, cool. So yeah, again, like this is just Flight, right? It's just a nice little wrapper around it.
Yeah, I think I wanted to add one thing. I think one of the reasons why we created it also was to make it make the serving portion really seamless. And maybe eventually also add like serving, like streaming serve and batch predictions, like batch when I say multiple different parallelized batch prediction, automatic. Because of that API, it's possible to do it. Like knowing that this is your predict API, right? Knowing that that knowledge is what you need. You don't need a lot of code. Like Flight would know it, but the problem would be then that we'll have to create something special in Flight called predict, which didn't make sense.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, just to tie it all together, like the design of this framework is you define a bunch of methods in code. UnionML like will automatically compile or bundle them together into services. Each of these correspond to some piece of infrastructure. So the training, quote unquote, microservice is a Flight workflow, literally. So same with batch prediction, online prediction. We offload that off to Fast API or whatever other integration we come up with in the future. We have a few planned, and so I'm going to go into that in a second. But these three dots, imply that there could be an explanation microservice or a tuning, model tuning microservice. So Zev and Mike here on the call. It's not exactly a microservice. What they're working on is Revela, which is a monitoring tool, model, and I think also data quality monitoring tool. So that'll just kind of be interleaved in, they'll sort of be a configurable piece that you can add to certain microservices as they make sense. Okay, cool. If there are no other questions, let's jump in. So at a high level, this is what the roadmap looks like. We're organizing it by release version. We're following semantic versioning. Just a meta point about this roadmap is, I'll only go kind of like 2 releases through the items. But we're flexible here. We're like, if I go down to say 040 and you see something like this, like, oh, we're using Snowflake, I want a Snowflake supported data set, then we can fast track any of these issues down below. But at a high level, 014 is just catching up a little bit on testing infra and not conda packaging, that's already done. But a few other things that we wanted to get done before the first open source release, but we couldn't. So we're just kind of catching up now. 020 is all about serving. So you can see here a BentoML integration, a more seamless scheduling API, so where you can schedule batch predictions. An extra little thing with a fast API model server supporting image uploads, and a few others related to AWS Lambda, streaming support, and better interoperability with Flight. 030 is about model tuning and experimentation. So, one thing to call out here as high priority is the MLflow experiment tracking integration. By the way, we also prioritize this based on some just feeling the winds and based on user feedback and requests. So a lot of people have talked about this, and so we put this as high. And then looking forward into the future, 040 just focuses on better interoperability with Flight. There are probably a few items here that we're going to add, but the idea is if you have a full Flight kind of model training and tuning system that's like fairly custom and complicated, the idea here is as long as one of those tasks or workflows produces a model artifact, that you would be able to kind of like create a minimal UnionML app that doesn't even have any of the training, like trainer or reader. It just implements a predictor and somehow points to that workflow and grabs the artifact. So we don't know what the details are yet, but basically we want this to really work as sort of like the bridge between flight and serving, which currently flight doesn't really do. And the last piece here is observability and data quality. I sneaked in Jupyter support here, but this is far enough into the future where we might have some more first-class support for Jupyter. So Zev and Mike. So these issues, I think we can kind of fast track a few items here that will unblock you with at least sort of a proof of concept integration with Revella. I think I've spoken to both of you about it. I can't seem to find the issue prediction. Prediction hook. There it is. Right. So here for some context. This out so it's easier to find. So like the idea here is that the predictor decorator exposes some callback where that callback has access to certain things like the model, the features, and the prediction. And anything can happen in this function body. So this is where Revella might come in for logging those predictions. I think for now, we're not really thinking about labels, right? From my understanding, you guys have some basic like things that don't depend on like labels or ground truth.
Yeah. Hey, Zev, are you listening on this one? That's probably a good question.
Yeah, I'm just struggling with my video. I'm trying to turn on, but I did. Yeah, you just found it. I did comment in here a little while back about some thoughts, but yeah, I think we can just start with like model input and output, and we'll worry about like labels later. Just to sort of, yeah, put the framework and like basic pieces in, and then we can figure out what we want to do after.
Awesome.
More advanced cases.
Yeah. Is this part, like this callback part, is this something that you are able to work on, or do you have capacity for this at all?
Yeah, we're just going through some of our internal releasing stuff over this week, but pretty soon here I'll be able to hop in there and I'll self-assign that issue. And I think that callback stuff should be pretty straightforward.
Oh, okay. Looks like I can assign you now.
Oh, yeah, go for it, sure.
Okay, so this, I kind of want to estimate this as, I don't know, t-shirt sizes, medium.
Sure.
Because it's like a single argument in predictor with some, I'm sure there are like some other things that need to change. But, I think it would be reasonable to put this in the 0.20 release.
If I have questions on that, is it appropriate to just tag you in comments on the issue?
Yeah. Oh yeah, totally. Yep. Yeah, also the UnionML Slack channel.
Yeah, right.
Okay. Unfortunately, wait, is Shive here? No. Okay. Well, I'll touch base with Abdul and Shive about these two. I think Eduardo as well. I'm not sure if he's still working on these. I'm currently working on this AWS Lambda template. So yeah, maybe to dig into this a little bit. Don't want to go into too much detail, but UnionML has these templates, so you can do UnionML on the command line init and an argument to one of these templates. And this will, create this basic AWS Lambda template app for you. So this one will support, provisioning of an S3 bucket and then reacting to events, upload, dumping files into that S3. That event is sent to the predictor endpoint. Or it's not technically streaming, I suppose, but it's more reactive predictions.
Hey, Niels, I had a question. So I
Yep.
see Evan's around, and Evan did a fantastic example of running Spark with UnionML. Can we add that as an example as well?
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah. Feel
Yeah.
free to assign me to something like that, because I have more time to work on this. So
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I would love, let's see. Yeah, let's chat offline, but yeah, I would love to have that as an example. And even, so there's this pattern in data set. From _star, right? So like if you have an existing flight SQLite task, you can actually call dataset.from SQLite task, and it'll create a dataset, UnionML dataset object for you, where this is the test will be a little more clear about this. Right, so
nice.
so this basically replaces the reader. This is the reader. And then now you have a data set, you can like play around, you can do all the other stuff you can define on a data set. But if you have a Spark task, there is currently a from flight kit task that's private. And it would be a matter of adding some tests for a Spark task. Right.
So Niels, I think I like the API, but I don't like the cardinality of this API. Like from SQLite, from SQL Alchemy, from Snowflake, from BigQuery. Is that the idea, or?
Yeah, that's like the initially I was going to end with from flight kit task.
Yeah.
I forget why exactly I added special ones. So totally open to make it a lot simpler. I feel like this will work because I mean both of these are just calling from flight kit task, right? There's nothing special happening in these.
Exactly.
So
I guess they're mostly decorators. Is it just like a simplification or a facade?
yeah, exactly. So we can rethink this API. Maybe first of all making this one public. And then seeing if it generalizes well. So
it should, right? If the task it's only a flight kit task, then that should generalize almost completely.
Yep.
Because flight kit task has a config object, like it has its own typing.
Yep.
Should work. And then that way, if it's SQLite, that is explicit within the flight kit task declaration, right? So it becomes nicely interoperable, I feel.
Yeah. And I think, if we can generalize so there are things that, as you can see here, like certain things are being injected into the dataset object that are derived from the task, like the outputs and inputs and stuff. So if this generalizes across all tasks, maybe there are some basic checks that can happen here that, like it has to be some recognizable data object. I mean, I don't know. So yeah, certainly we can do that. But
yeah, because we know the output types, so we can actually enforce this at like compiled or declaration time, right?
Yep. So maybe let's add a thing here. Expose data set, like public. Yeah.
I also had one weird question over here. Maybe I want to get people's thoughts over here. Like, so dataset currently is 1:1 to a task, right? What if you need like a entire, like an ETL kind of a, or a multi-step workflow to achieve that? Needs what, like, eventually we could support that, right? Like from flight gate task for a workflow.
Yeah, the way data set works is like there's, from a flight perspective, there's the reader, which is its own task.
Yeah,
And then all these other methods, loader, splitter, parser, that actually is called in the training, during the training workflow.
Yeah, which
Reason being, reading can be like an expensive step. But loading the data, splitting and parsing it into features and targets, that can happen in the same pod as the training of the model, most of the time. So that's kind of like the separation. We could have a reader workflow, right? So we could have like a from flight kit workflow, and that'll be the reader,
yeah,
and that'll be a sub workflow in the broader workflow things.
that could be a feature engineering thing. And eventually, I think we would love to have data set from like a feature store, feature.
Exactly. Yep. But sorry, Evan, so going back to the Spark example, I think like converting the example that you came up with, and obviously removing work related stuff as an example would be useful here. We can figure out where exactly that'll live in the docs, but would you be open to creating a page for that?
Yeah, I think definitely I would come up with an example outside of the HBO world. And then like the first step is just create a file with the data set and UnionML thing, and then we can go from there.
Awesome. And I sort of remember in your use case, you're using Spark for data cleaning and stuff like that, but also for like as a pipeline, right? You made that plugin, right?
Yeah, because we're running like the SparkML library to use our models, or that's what we're using for our models. So
okay, awesome.
yeah, end-to-end Spark.
Awesome.
Sorry to interject, but like, Evan, did you try to serve the Spark pipeline model?
Not yet. I would do that as part of this task.
That'll be like amazing to see. Let's see.
Yeah, I want to try it.
Yeah, so I think depending on the nature of the problem, we're kind of organizing tutorials around application areas. So depending on like the problem you've picked for this, or we can have like a broader category, and then like Spark, end-to-end Spark, something like that.
Cool. I'll find a good data set.
Hey, Neil, I also see Shiva here.
Oh yeah, okay, cool. Also, as a side note, if you type in a comment and want any of the issues, hashtag self-assign, it'll assign you to that, even if you don't have like permissions in the repo. So Evan, if you can do that, at your own time.
Sounds good.
Yeah, depending on how quickly you can get to this, I'll just add this to the next release, but we can push this off depending on your capacity. Oh yeah, Shive. Do you have any questions on this integration test and examples for TensorFlow? How's that going?
Shive, are you around?
Are you around? Okay, I'll go back to him.
The Shive bot.
Yeah. So I think Chris and Arvind, and actually also Brandon, I think you're new to this meeting. Do you mind? Would you be open to just like introducing yourself and saying a little bit about why you're interested in UnionML? Brandon, if you can go first.
Yeah, for sure. So I am a analytics engineer on here at Spotify. I've been migrating our teams to Flight and seeing this in the Flight Slack channel and working actually on the ML platform team at Spotify. I thought that it would be kind of an interesting experience to see what it is that you guys were building and if similar patterns might work for our team.
Awesome. Cool, thanks. Chris, how's it going? Also, maybe away from keyboard. Arvind?
Hi. I was the one that texted you a week ago in Twitter mail.
Oh.
So right now I am understanding the code base of UnionML. I will start contributing soon.
Oh, awesome.
That there is any work related to Azure Cloud.
Hi, yeah, this is Chris. Yeah, sorry, I was yeah, so I'm a solutions architect at Databricks, looking at some Flight integration and how UnionML plays in that.
Okay. Cool. Thanks, Chris.
Yeah, it should Chris, I think it should just automatically work. Like that's the example that I was gonna add, like Spark usage, and hopefully we integrate.
Yeah, you know what? That's true. I'm curious to see. So yeah, maybe I'll connect with you after.
Yeah, it'll be awesome to actually hang out and just talk. Chris, we've never had a chat. I think last time I missed it, but I would love to catch up.
Awesome.
Okay.
Arvind, sorry, were there any particular things you wanted to contribute to, or
I want to contribute in the anything related to Azure Cloud, DevOps stuff, or like PyTorch.
okay. Yeah, feel free to create an issue. In the UnionML issues section, if you see something that like the Azure support, etc. I feel like Azure support would probably be more on the Flight side, right, Ketan?
Yeah, and I think there are a couple teams that are running Flight on Azure. They have not upstreamed their changes. But from what I heard, the biggest problem that they found was an FSpec ADFS or ABFS driver that was buggy. So they have patched it. Whoever is interested, I think you are. So I can connect it to those folks, and we can urge them to please contribute upstream. Because I think there have been some people who have been wanting Azure support and completely community contributed.
Cool. Yeah, there's when it comes to PyTorch, it's not exactly PyTorch, but there is a issue here for PyTorch Lightning. I don't know if you want to take this task on.
I will look into that.
Okay. Cool. Unfortunately, there's no easy way to like add people here, but yeah, if you, as I said before, you can self-assign as well. Okay, cool. So I think Samita, we have a bunch of issues here for this next release. I think for the next 0 to 0, we should start thinking about the K-serve integration document that you came up with. I'm not sure what it is anymore, but let's see if I can just capture that here. So all of this will be related to model serving. So
Yeah, I presume Yaroslav is working on the backend part. I'm not sure, but I'll have to follow up.
who's working on the backend part?
Yaroslav?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'll have to follow up. Let me just do
Right.
that.
I don't think that's happening, Sumita. So yeah, let's actually
Yeah.
come up with the plan over here. And let's see. We should. I want to see like from the relative priority within Union where we can support this part, but I would love to have one integration, and I think Bento folks have been interested, so we should reach out to them and say that hey, we are ready.
Sure.
Let me see.
And Bento might not need a lot of work on flight side, Samita.
Hello.
Hello. Hey, Shiva. Oh.
Hey, Shiva.
Ketan, I just wanted to know that since you like added for K-serve, I wanted to know, do we also plan for any integration with Selden?
Yeah, that was also the idea. I think folks from Selden and DoorDash Volt have been interested in this. Again, it's all for us, it's relative priority. I don't think we will get to it. I think they would be interested in contributing later in the year. So yeah, so it's all you know, it's like a set of puzzle pieces that we're trying to bring together.
Yeah. So we should get ahead of this, both of these. So the idea in UnionML is that ideally there will be some kind of standard API for some built-in model servers, and then like a base class for people to inherit from to extend that to whatever future model server we want to support. So I think we've decided Kserve and BentoML are like the first two we want to start off with. And so I think that'll take a little bit of planning. But Samita, do you have any capacity for taking on starting on one of these ones, like, so like the scheduling API we can discuss, but that's basically, yeah, maybe I'll take the time to actually write these out.
Okay.
So currently, UnionML supports batch predictions. The remote predict method, which executes a work prediction workflow on some pre-configured flight backend. However, there's no way of scheduling this in a only way of scheduling this today is by pulling out the flight workflow and all that prediction workflow and using the flight API schedule. Come up with some interface for this in UnionML. So, you know, like just a sketch. I don't know what this would look like, but. So right now we have certain, a few verbs, so like we have a deploy verb for deploying your workflows to a flight backend. We have model.serve for like serving a fast API app. We could have a schedule thing with some set of arguments, I'm not sure.
Yeah, the
So-
idea here would be to create a new launch plan essentially within the flight world.
Yep, exactly. And I guess this could be called multiple times for multiple different kind of things.
With a new name, I guess. I think that calling, we should probably take a name in there.
Is a launch plan.
Yeah, I can
Also,
take this up.
yeah, I had a question, Niels, that have we ever tried an example with where the training itself is done on
Schedule.
Spark or Ray or distributed, like the MPI, etc.
Oh, like so this is a separate. So these would be like examples of how to do that.
Yeah, at least have one example, just to, because I think a cool thing that can happen over there is, even SageMaker, we have some folks who will be interested in UnionML with SageMaker, and that would be, and they could write that example, right? But I guess you should tell them, oh, this is how you do it. Go for it.
Yeah, so I guess we can write this as separate tasks, but you mentioned what Ray.
Yeah, training on, let's say, MPI operator, the simplest one. We already have the example in Flight, just like creating UnionML.
Cool. But yeah, circling back to this, yeah, Samita, we can talk about the specifics of this offline. Thanks.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's like a ton of examples that need to be written here in the docs. Like, as you can see, there's like 2 tutorials for like computer vision applications, but there's a lot of like flight features that are exposed on UnionML that aren't currently documented. So there's just a ton of them.
Yeah, I don't think we can ever document everything. It's like, as in examples, where we should definitely document the mechanics.
Speaking of SageMaker, the SageMaker endpoints, prediction endpoints fall under, yeah, that server interaction. Okay. Shive, are you still there? Like he's a bot and then now and again. Okay, cool.
From Mars.
Yeah, there's like an 8-minute delay. Cool. So I think this is good for now. I think the biggest pieces here are these integrations. There are these 4 ones that I think are lighter weight tasks. So just looking forward to 020. This is like a fairly small task. This would be medium. These are both large. This is, I'd say, is a medium. Slide user with a model artifact produced. I think maybe this is a medium. So these 3, I think we can maybe prioritize next time, depending on who has the capacity. But I think, yeah, we can open it up to questions and or end the meeting?
Depending on where I get on 51, I've got my eyes on that fast API image one as well.
Okay.
I'll self-assign when I'm done there in case someone else wants to pick that up before I'm done with the one I've got already.
All right. Awesome. Let's see.
Awesome, Zeph. Thank you.
Thanks, Ed. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
guys.
congrats on the community edition of Rebella. That's awesome news.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see where it takes us.
Oh, there is a community edition now. Oh, congrats. I did not know that. Oh, we should definitely.
Thanks, Pan. Yeah, it's come free to sign up, free to try it. There's still lots of stuff that we are working on building, but the sort of basic API is there. So
Yeah, we a couple weeks ago in the flight community thing, Wilox presented. I don't know if you guys had a chance to see it. If you guys think a similar pattern might work for some of your work, we would love to integrate. I think UnionML is the way, but eventually UnionML and flight together type, we'd love to. I think we should talk about that even in the flight community. That'll help even wider audience. So
Thanks. Yeah, we got a blog post. I'm just trying to get that out on LinkedIn. I was gonna fire that over to maybe Niels there and post it on the room there just to kind of get some ideas from the community on how they would like to see the integration happen too, because it's good for us to hear what would work from them, from their perspective as well. So
absolutely.
Okay.
Hey Chris, if whenever you have a chance, let me know if you're on the flight Slack channel. Definitely DM me. Let's have a chat.
Yeah, definitely. It sounds good. Thanks.
All right, guys. And Brandon, I think we are already in touch with Markseed and a lot of different people. There's a lot of integrations happening with Flight and Spotify ML platform. As you know, probably I don't want to say it in here in this meeting, but yeah, if there are certain places that you think it's useful to look at UnionML, let us know. I know Mahan Hodesi, if that's the way things said, was interested and the team. All right, if that's
Awesome.
it.
Okay, and that's all. Thanks, everyone.
you know,
Bye.
yeah.
Thanks.